Sometimes we greet, sometimes we chat and laugh, but never fight, even when the
Good afternoon, Haopei.
Hey, Sawan, how you doing?
Fine, fine. And thank you for taking the time to sit with me. Can you share with us how your friends usually describe you? Who is how? Haopei, right? It is Haopei.
Okay, yeah.
Haopei. Who is Haopei?
Um, I have no idea what to say about me. Maybe it depends on who you ask. Some of them might say, this guy is so annoying. But I hope they say that I'm true to myself.
Yes, I like that. I understand. I understand you have a passion for technology, web development, social media. Um, how did this whole excursion into the internet, into social media began for you?
It started when I was in Form 3.
Mm.
That is when I was first exposed to the internet, and at that moment, it exposed a new possibility to me. I was exposed to the MSN Messenger.
That's
That
all.
is when that first instant messenger that I ever played with, and I was amazed by this technology where you can just instantly send a message to a person anywhere around the world.
Mhm.
And prior to that, we barely used cell phone as text messaging, which was very expensive. So it was almost as if it was telepathy, this ability to send, a message over the internet. So that blew me away. And I got hooked ever since.
So yeah, good. I heard you have this. Let me take a moment to just read a little bit about you, so I can give the audience some context. The Chinese by birth, Guyanese by culture, web developer, founder of Skilled Guyanese, a web-based platform that helps Guyanese find jobs online and organizations recruit skilled employees. Skill Guyanese started from your passion for web development and desire to help Guyana's high brain drain rate. This is important, right?
Right.
What is Skilled Guyanese, and why did the brain drain affected you so much?
Well, it didn't personally affect me. Firstly, let me just say what Skill Guyanese is, I guess. It is an online platform where basically job seekers meet employers. And that's basically at companies. We have currently have 300 companies registered in Guyana, and they post jobs. On average, you will find 50 to 60 jobs on the website. They're all fresh jobs, as in not stale. The system automatically removes jobs which are no longer available or otherwise filled. And job seekers can actually create a profile on the website and upload a resume and apply for a job directly online without having to, go to pick up a pen or drop off a letter.
When did this first start?
It started I launched the project in 2012. At that time, it was a very basic project, and since then I built upon it.
And how did people react to it when it first came out?
I can tell you there wasn't a big bang.
Ah,
It was quite slow. I was lucky to get a newspaper publication and a story on it, so that gave it a little push. I tried to convince all my friends who have businesses or so to post a job. I tried to do some marketing myself on Facebook, and some way or the other, I guess it picked up momentum by itself. Today I do minimum marketing, and the website kind of, it has a life of its own.
But 8,000 job applications. Was it slow in the beginning and then it gradually picked up? And what do you think attributed to its growth?
It's actually 16,000 job applications.
16,000?
Yeah, wow. 16,000 job applications as of today. 6,000 of which was from the last 3 or 4 months. 10,000 of which was from the last few years. So, I'm not sure why. I think perhaps it has met a tipping point where, it's everyone knows about it now. It's the platform to go to when you're looking for a job. So I think, and there's a lot of word of mouth. So I guess somewhere along the line, it met like then it just kind of gathered momentum by itself.
So what kind of challenge you had when you first started Skill Guyanese?
Oh, many. The challenge of was the first major challenge was figuring out how to get employers and job seekers on the website at the same time. Because if you imagine, if you try to bring job seekers on board and they see one job on the website, they wouldn't be. Likewise, if you bring employers on board and there's no other employer on board, it's a hard sell at the beginning. So, yeah, that dilemma of which one comes first, the chicken or the egg, you kind of have to make both of them exist at the same time. So that was the biggest challenge.
So what was the strategy, if you don't mind sharing, what was the strategy you used to invite or to get more people, more employers using the website and more job seekers going on the website?
The strategy at the very beginning, I did everything. I prepared letters to send to all these companies. I tried to call the HR departments of those companies and try to schedule a meeting to demonstrate. All the while, I had a marketing campaign on Facebook running to pull job seekers, so that any job that I get posted online, I need to make sure that job receives applicants. Otherwise, the company might not give me another chance. So, and I knew that job seekers, their current place that they go to look for jobs is the newspaper classified. So I made sure I put up some classified ads there. So they see that this website caters for Guyanese jobs. So it's so if I place myself where people are currently looking, I should be able to gather some users.
It's a lot of work.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
It was just at the beginning. It was very very aggressive. Just a lot of sweat, just to get it working.
Mm-hmm. Any big surprise so far from Skill Guyanese from doing this?
Any surprise? Okay. Yeah, there was one big surprise. You're doing this show, and to inspire people, and I don't want to pretend like I solved unemployment again, because I haven't. And the big surprise is that I haven't. But what I've gathered from the platform is that I have over all of these data, 16,000 job applications, 300 companies, all these 16,000 users as well. And that has given me or afforded me a bird's eye view of what might be a microcosm of what's happening in Guyana. Mm-hmm. And I found that there's a lot of underdeveloped people in this country who are looking for jobs, and they're having a lot of trouble. So when I first started this platform, the goal was to expose job opportunities in Guyana for people. but I realize now that that is not enough. You know, our focus. Well, we've added a main focus, which was to develop people in this country, and that is why I'm trying to strategically partner with training schools, these business coaches, which might add more value to the people who visit a website, so that whenever someone visits a website, they leave the website in a better position, somehow. So to answer the big surprise is this.
Is that I'm getting there's some problems with your internet. I hope there's nobody else in your environment that's logged on or using the internet, because that would use up some of the bandwidth. But I wanted you to talk about the partnership that your partnership with coaches and business schools and so on. Tell us a little bit about that, about the whole human capital.
Well, we're currently seeking prospective partnerships, as well as partner with. We have one partner right now, which is Action Coach Guyana, and they do an incredible job in training people in the capacities of entrepreneurship and just basic performance. So I got a chance to meet Mr. Vishnu Dorga, who runs the show, and I got a chance to audit some of his courses. Phenomenal. So we're kind of seeking these partnerships now, and right now we're trying to look for schools which may offer useful courses, and this is another important thing, because it gives the education providers a chance to in the free market react to what they think is required in Guyana, what kind of training is required in Guyana. So instead of going through our education system, which may not adapt to the changing dynamic environment, the demands of our environment, these partners a chance to offer courses that they believe that are useful today, applicable today.
Do you have? I know you develop software and so on, but do you have a software development philosophy?
Oh yeah, I think all good software should think about who it's serving, and the answer is always the people. It's all about people. Software is about human. So in software that I'm building, I have to get down to the bottom of what exactly is the value that I'm delivering, and who is it for, and am I making a lot of assumptions? It's easy for me to make an assumption and say, what, people need this.
So what? Without giving away any trade secrets, Without giving away any trade secrets.
Yeah, go ahead.
Without giving away any secrets, is there any particular software you're working on right now that you care to share with the audience?
The pace of technology moves so fast. I need to learn new technologies every day.
Yeah.
I have a few projects that I have in the back burner. I think I can't say much yet, because those are projects I'm running with, and I don't have the full picture yet. So once it's launched, that's when you know.
If someone wants a website built or as web application built, how do they find you?
Well, Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You can find my name. I'm interested in building stuff that are fun and cool, I guess. I do some client work when I really want to if I can't build something, or maybe I don't have the time, I will surely redirect you to all the many competent teams in Guyana who are able to. We have a lot of incredibly smart people in Guyana who are able to build apps.
Where do you see Guyana going in the next 5, 10 years where technology development is concerned? Or where would you like to see it?
Oh, I would like to see. Well, I can tell you what I think will happen in 5 to 10 years. There is an increasing amount of people who are just getting into technology because there's such a low barrier of entry. All you need is a computer and Google, and you can learn how to build an application in a few months if you're really dedicated. And with the influx of these technology specialists, I think Guyana, there's nothing keeping Guyana from reaching where Silicon Valley is today in 10 years or even 5 years, because you know, the human ability is not biased. You know, there's intelligent people are all over the world. You know, Guyana is not cursed for some reason. Just as people in Silicon Valley have all this ability, we do it well. We have the same thing.
What?
What? Guyana, in terms of technology in the future, is really bright.
What are you seeing in the development in the technology community that gives you hope that this is possible? Guyana becoming another Silicon Valley, or a Silicon Valley of the region?
Right, definitely. I had recently partook in a hackathon 2 days ago, sponsored by the Ministry of Public Communication, and the young people who appeared for the competition, some of them, you know, I got to meet some of them. They're bloody terrifying in intelligence, and absolutely terrifying.
Really?
Yeah, and that leads me to think, you know, anyone can do it. All you have to do is, you know, give it your heart.
So share with us, if you don't mind, something that you have seen, some interaction you've had with some of these young people that really impressed you.
Okay, well, firstly, they were doing things at an age where when I was their age, I was never able to learn so quickly.
Wow.
You know, so they're learning quick, and they're not just learning quick. They're learning the right stuff. They're learning how to do it the right way very quickly.
And so, what age group are we talking about?
I'm talking maybe between 18 and 25, or between 18 and 30.
Wow.
And some are even younger. Yeah.
And they're good at coding.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure there are a lot more who have not surfaced.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think, if we were to push this, create this drive, this Silicon Valley of the region drive, what do you think is necessary? What are some things you think need to be put in place, both from the government and the private sector?
You know, I'm not going to be presumptuous here because I don't know how Silicon Valley works. But I think one of the things that we should have is, in Guyana, is a stronger community in tech.
Tech community.
Yeah. Today, compared to maybe 2-3 years ago, the tech community is much stronger. If you go back a few years ago, the tech community probably didn't exist, and this is owed to a huge thanks to the places like We Own Space, Eldon Marks. He's doing an incredible job in building teams. Intellect Storm as well. They're really impressive at bringing people together, and that is key. And in terms of the private sector and the government, the only thing that I may think is missing is the angel investing component. It's as far as I know it, it's not very typical that people in Guyana would invest in technology, and that is something that you need. And technology, starting a technology business is a different beast. You know, it's not like starting a traditional business. There's a lot of things to consider. The chances of failure is extremely high. I think the statistics says that the 90% of the first startups fail. And that just goes to show how much guidance is involved, should be involved in the startup process. You know.
Well, what can you tell us about the startup culture in Guyana?
Okay, they call it an agile process. Now, when you develop software, or maybe when I developed Skill Guyanese, I had a hypothesis in mind that people would value seeing jobs online. So I go with that hypothesis, and I build a product around that value. Now, in building this product, there's a lot of assumptions that I'm making. You know, people will use their phones to apply for jobs. Enough people have access to the internet. So a lot of things like that. And as you build, because you're pioneering into an unknown space, you know, it's not like a store where you get a blueprint and you just set up a shop, you know. So you're pioneering into an unknown space, and as things come up, you just need to adapt to them. And sometimes you can adapt. It's very easy to adapt incorrectly if you're not seeing the full picture. So there's that. It's a different beast, I think. You know, if you open a coffee shop, you might have all your chairs already arranged in a certain way. So you know, it's hard to adapt when you're in a traditional business. But when you're online, in the online space, you have to really pay keen attention to what people are reacting to and how you can really mold the website to what a value delivery machine.
You know, one of the challenges I think most academic space going to have with educating young people in technology is that technology is moving so fast. I want to joke and say almost at a quantum level, but it's moving so fast and changing so rapidly. If you follow a traditional curriculum, by the time you get out of college, that technology is what you've learned is probably old. If you had to give some advice in terms of how, you know, you mentioned agile just now, but in terms of how young people should learn or can learn technology, what would be some of your advice?
Okay, so the advice that I would offer is definitely keep learning. I mean, if you go to university and even if you're learning a technology which may be obsolete in, you know, X number of years, you're still going to pick up the principles that comes with it, and those will last a much longer time, if not a lifetime. Your interest definitely has to be there. You know, this technology, if you don't maintain your interest, is going to leave you behind. You know, this study. I think.
Go ahead. Sorry, Haopei. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I said once you have the interest to build and the curiosity, you should be fine.
What is making you curious these days? What is keeping you up?
What is keeping me up
these days?
The future.
Huh?
The future is keeping me up.
The future, you said?
Yeah.
Oh. Is there anything you saw recently in technology space that made you go ah, or really, really give you goosebumps?
Okay. One of the things that I was impressed with, and this is not really this is not web technology per se. It is SpaceX. They built a rocket. Have you heard of this? The SpaceX rocket?
No.
Okay. So back in the days, they used to send this stuff in space, and they would launch the entire rocket, and that rocket would be disposed of, unreusable. And this guy Elon Musk, he came along and he built a rocket that can launch something in space, and then that thing that remains, which is the bulk of the rocket. If you imagine the tip of the rocket is what needs to go to space, delivering packages. The remaining body of the rocket actually lands back on Earth, and that item is worth like $50 million. So they've saved $50 million per trip.
Wow.
And that means they're gonna launch way more things into space. So space development is going to accelerate by quite a few folds. So that was the most incredible thing for me this year and last.
Haopei, if you were sitting in front of me 5 years from now, I know you're constantly learning and researching and so on. It's great. If you were to be sitting in front of me 5 years from now, telling me about one of your accomplishments, what will we be talking about?
Oh. Well, I hope I would have built a company where people can feel proud to be part of, and people can know that in working with this company, they're young people like me today, we're bothered by this word impact. Everyone's just trying to make an impact. But I hope they really are able to feel like they're doing something contributive to, and positively contributive to their society or the global society somehow, making something better for us humans as a collective. So that's my humble goal.
Haopei, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.